Welcome to the Trellix Spotlight series. My name is Nick, and I will be your host. In today's session, we'll meet the newest user experience tools for XDR. This webinar will be recorded. If you prefer not to participate in the recorded session, please feel free to disconnect at this time. A link to today's recorded presentation will be emailed to all registered attendees. This webinar is a brief overview covering common use cases and scenarios regarding this topic. It is not intended to be all-encompassing. If assistance is needed, please contact Trellix Technical Support. If you have questions during the webinar, please type them in the Q&A window. This webinar may run longer or shorter based on your participation, and we recommend asking as many questions as you can to make the most of this series. If the Q&A window is not displayed, click the tab at the bottom of your session window and click on the Q&A icon. We will answer the questions during the final section of this webinar. If you experience any audio issues during the webcast, please drop and attempt to reconnect. Without further ado, let me hand it over to our speaker, Trent Bowman.
Thanks, Nick. This week we're going to meet the newest user experience tools for our XDR engine, Helix Connect. My name is Trent Bowman. I'm a global solutions architect at Trellix here, specifically focusing on our security operations solutions. So let's talk about the newest Helix Connect enhancements. And there's really two major categories that I want to highlight here before we jump into the specifics. Number one is we've enabled deeper detections of multi-stage attacks using a more efficient detection engine. We call this engine ACE, or Advanced Correlation Engine, and you'll see that during our demo. Number two is a simplified, even more powerful analyst experience, again focused on the SecOps analyst and their day-to-day work. So let's meet these new applications. There's 5 major new applications that we want to touch on. So let's go from the top to the bottom. First is alerting. We create prioritized alerts using Trellix Wise, our Gen AI engine, and we automatically enrich those alerts and empower automation or click to respond depending on your preferred approach as an analyst. Search and forensics, we've empowered analysts to gain visibility across data lakes, create and save queries, and create and save custom rules as well. Speaking of rules, our new Rule Management Hub allows users to configure these rules, monitor these rules, and mitigation steps as well. Our brand new Integrations Hub allow analysts to easily click to integrate, ingest data, and create automated tasks for each integration performed. And again, you'll see that during our live demo. And finally, our new case management menu. This is a collaborative space for teams to create, integrate cases from third-party tools, and assign actions to other team members that may need to take action on that investigation. So what does this mean for the day-to-day workings of a SOC analyst? We've really broken it down into 5 key areas where the analyst gets a lot of added value with these new applications within Helix Connect. One is less steps for common tasks, getting to that completion much sooner. 2, easier collaboration via our case management hub. 3, faster visibility. 4, usable by more of the team, not just a single analyst, allowing that easier collaboration like on number 2. And number 5, less manual correlation. Let our detection and our correlation engines do that work for the analyst behind the scenes. Now we'll go ahead and jump into the live demo of these brand new applications within Helix Connect. So here we are in the Helix Connect console. Right on the summary dashboard when you first load in. If we navigate to the top left pancake menu, we're able to see some of these new applications get added to the environment. In this case, they're tagged with beta. This is a demo environment. In your case, when they get added as new applications in your tenant, they will be tagged with new. The legacy applications, such as alerts and cases that are being replaced with the new applications, will be tagged as legacy. And then, of course, beta applications will be tagged just like this with the tag beta. So let's click into some of these applications and show you what they look like. First, we're going to click into our integration hub and talk about how we bring data in to Helix Connect. You may be familiar with Cloud Connect and bringing various third-party and native Trellix solutions data into the system from a cloud perspective. Well, we've replaced that with Integration Hub. This allows us to configure your third-party and custom integrations to ingest data and also configure response actions. Not only are you able to bring the data in, but as you see as we drop this features menu down, you're also able to do tasking or outward bound actions as well via this new integration hub. So here you can see a few examples of things that are enabled or disabled or getting an error. We have some AWS, some VirusTotal, some different third-party integrations in this environment. We also have some native Trellix applications in this environment. And to add a brand new integration, very similar to Cloud Connect, you'll go up to that blue button, click Add New Integration, and then you can see the available integrations here, broken down by category. As we click that button, you can see here lots of cloud solutions, endpoint security, mobile security, network security, SIM, threat intel, kind of every category you can think of. And again, you can also sort by, are we looking at ingest or tasking as well? So let's look at a quick example of how you would go about integrating one of these solutions. Let's search by category and we'll scroll down and let's pick network security. Maybe you want to bring in some AWS network firewall logs or something like that. So as we click into this AWS network firewall, you'll notice several different things. First is you can give it the details, right? You can give it an integration name, a description, assign tags to it, and then you get to pick the feature settings. This is where I mentioned with our new integration hub, you're not only able to ingest data, which we can click on right there, you're also able to task and do outward bound tasks as well. And so that will show here if the option is available for that solution. In this case, we are looking at the AWS network firewall. These are some of the fields that you're going to need, some being optional, some being mandatory as you bring that data in from AWS. And then the nice feature is on the far right here, we have step-by-step instructions on how to set up this integration. You can see steps 1 through 12 walk you through it, include links to some of the docs on the AWS portal. It'll log you into your AWS account right here via the console, and it'll walk you through step by step exactly how this integration needs to be set up. Once you're done here, then you go up to the top right and hit Add and Verify Integration, and you're off and running. So lots of different options here when it comes to our new integration hub. Now that we've got all the data flowing in via the integrations hub, let's go look at our brand new cases menu. So we're going to go back to our menu and click through cases. The cases menu again is a brand new UI refresh where we're able to create, manage, and assign cases to track investigation and different response actions. You'll see here that you can filter this menu based on severity, based on case name, who is it assigned to, the status, who created the case, the date it was created, when it was last updated, and so on and so forth. These are all customizable columns. I've created a demo case here with high or critical severity. So let's go ahead and click into that demo case and show you this brand new UI. Again, this is a Gen AI powered XDR case that I've come up with as a demo example. It is critical. You can see some of the tags that we've applied here, whether it be methodology or endpoint alerts that are correlated in here, network alerts that are correlated in here, whatever it might be. On the top right, you can assign it a severity. So maybe after I'm done investigating, I want to lower that severity or raise the severity. You can do that right from the case. I've assigned it to myself here. The status is open. We can certainly close that when we're done with our investigation. And then if there's any MITRE ATT&CK framework tactics and techniques that some of these alerts are mapped to, they'll show here in the MITRE section as well. As we kind of work our way down the cases page here, you can see we have a couple of different tabs on the left and then some buttons on the right. On the left, we have our summary button. So this is going to show you key milestones within this case. This is things like case created. So you can see when I created this case. 178 days later, which is a long time, it may be less in your environment, you can see the last time we updated the case. In this case, I assigned it to myself. And we also estimate the time spent by your analysts on this case. And in this case, it's 10 minutes that I've spent on it. You can also see in this middle column that the case contains or can contain a number of different things, whether that be data sources, alerts from various vectors, correlated assets. Where is this threat actor trying to attack? You can see tasks and automations, search results. We'll touch on that here in just a second, our brand new search functionality. You can add notes to these cases and even relate cases or correlate them with one another. You can also see a nice case timeline here as we click on this second tab. So in this case, you can see there are two different views. You can filter on the results of these as well. And in this first view, it's called timeline, and you can actually see the timeline of different things occurring within this case, whether that's changing who it's assigned to, creating the case originally, adding different alerts to the case, whatever that might be. You can see it all in this timeline view. Alternatively, you're also able to see it in a table view. And so you can see here, same kind of information, just in a filterable table. You can show these in the timeline. You can turn them off. You can also do actions here, like adding an artifact, deleting an entry in these timelines, whatever it might be that you need to do for your workflow. As we look up here on the top right, there's some white buttons here. You can also see related assets. If there are assets that this threat actor is trying to attack, they would be shown here, again, fully filterable. Related alerts. So as we add alerts to this case, again, you're able to filter on those based on severity, when it was created, the name, who it's assigned to, and we'll touch on the new alerts UI as well here in a minute. You can see the history here. Are we adding notes? Are we changing who it's assigned to? Again, tracking all of that history for this case. And then finally, that notes section. So as we want to do our investigation or leave notes for another analyst, you're able to kind of come in here and leave these notes and do whatever you need to do, again, based on your security workflow. So now let's go back up to the hamburger menu. We've looked at the integration hub. We've looked at the cases, new UI, and I mentioned we were going to touch on search a little bit. So that's another new application. So let's touch on this search application right here as we click into that. So if you're familiar with our search capabilities previously, we had two different types of searches. One was called archive search, and one was called index search. Index being that index data that is much quicker and easier to search for some quick search results. The archive data digging much deeper and often taking longer than what would typically be an index search. Well, we've combined them into what we call global search now. And you can see some of those examples here. This is what this new screen looks like. We're still using what we call TQL or Trellix query language. And you can see some examples here looking at searching by class, by IP address, by port. You can search by different metadata, usernames, device names. Here's some different hashes, whatever you're looking for your investigative workflow. The only difference being that we've combined that search functionality now, no longer siphoned off between an index and an archive search. We have a single search functionality here. Again, you're able to choose the time frame here. In this case, we have for the last 30 days. Your search history is also saved as well. If you want to maybe search for one of those MD5 hashes, you can do so. You can hit search up here, and doesn't look like that hash has been seen in our demo environment within the last 30 days. So some new search functionality there that I think is very useful, not having to distinguish between two different search values. So we have two new applications to go. We've touched on Integration Hub. We've talked about the new cases screen, which will look exactly like the alert screen. And then we've talked about combining our index and our archive search into a global search functionality. Next, let's look at our new rules menu. As we click into our new rules, again, this is where we create and manage rules which match events against queries. We talked about our TQL query language, and then generate the alerts to match these rules. Same functionality as you're familiar with Helix Connect. We have out-of-the-box rules that our Advanced Research Center provides and continually updates based on the latest threat intelligence. You're also able to clone and create custom rules based on your needs for your environment. So you can see on our rules page here, everything is fully filterable again. You can actually search across the top. If you want to sort by columns, you can look at different IDs, different rule names, the origin of these rules. Are they Trellix rules? Are they custom rules? Where did these rules get created at? Are they enabled? Are they disabled? You can see the severity of these rules ranging from high to low severity. Again, where are they created by? When were they last updated? And so on and so forth. One thing to point out on the top right here is if you do like the legacy view of these rules, you can certainly go back and look at that legacy view. I mentioned legacy applications will be tagged with that legacy tag. New ones will be tagged with the new application tag. And then as we continue to roll out new features within Helix Connect, the beta tag will be used as well. So a lot of cool new features here within our rules section. Let's go ahead and scroll down and click one just to show you again how these rules look individually. Let's look at Amazon Cloud Drive, a new installation here. And as we click into that, this screen will look a little bit new. This is where we manage our Trellix rules moving forward. You have your name, you have your description, you can give it a severity here. This is a Trellix rule, so you're not actually able to edit any of this rule. What you can do is go up and clone this rule. If you like this, but maybe you need a little tweaking on it for your specific environment, you can come up and hit clone. That will enable these fields here to be able to be edited. On the right, you'll get your settings menu where you can enable this rule, you can disable this rule. You may want to do a severity override, right? So you want to make sure that the severity is correct and you want to override it. So you want to bring that severity down to low or medium perhaps. You can assign tags. You can even exclude these lists. So maybe you want to exclude certain IPs or certain ports, whatever it might be. It's all fully functional here. And so let's go ahead and click that clone. As you can see, we're now creating a custom rule here. Because we've cloned the one that Trellix came with out of the box, now we're able to go in and actually mess with the severity. We can mess with the fields here. We can change the IPs that we're looking for in this rule, the recommended query, the threat type, the risk level, and so on. So you can see that brand new functionality here within our rules menu. So a lot of great new functionality within this application that will be rolling out to your environment as well. Now let's go ahead and click into an individual alert here. Let's find a good one. Here's a malware methodology that we can look at. You're going to notice as we click into this individual alert that it looks very similar to the cases screen. We did that intentionally. Whether you're working a case with multiple alerts and multiple artifacts and multiple notes and multiple analysts, or you're just looking at individual alerts or correlated alerts, the view is going to be the same regardless of which portion of the console you're working in. But here you can see, how was this alert triggered? There were 10 events triggered in the following sources. In this case, I mentioned our Advanced Correlation Engine, or our ACE engine, is a brand new feature within Helix Connect in this new alerting application. In this case, it's correlated together 6 different network events and 4 different threat intelligence events, and correlated into a single malware methodology alert. Now, again, if it has MITRE ATT&CK frameworks, tactics and techniques, you'll see that mapped right here. In this case, you can actually see the little red dot on the top right here. We actually do have a MITRE tactic and technique that we've mapped this correlated alert 2. A few other things, we'll look at that in just a second. A few other things on this home screen. Were there any assets affected? In this case, there's no data available. This will show your internal machines, your internal IPs, whatever that attacker's trying to go after. And then what actions should I take, right? We're bringing in the data, you're running your investigation, but how do we remediate this? You can check if the flagged activity is legitimate or expected. We give some recommendations here, some recommended actions for the analyst to take. So same kind of stuff as you saw in the cases screen. You can see this is a low severity alert that can certainly be changed. You can go on the top right here and actually add it to one of those existing cases. So maybe we want to add it to the case that we already looked at, the demo case that I was showcasing earlier. You can assign it to an analyst. I'll assign it to myself right there. The status then changes to in progress. It can be new, it can be acknowledged. You get the idea there. At the bottom here, as I assigned that to myself, you can see the recent activity on this alert. So I was assigned and updated the status, and ACE, again, added one alert to this automatically. So not everything has to be done from a manual standpoint by an analyst, but our ACE engine will do the correlation for them. And so you can see ACE has actually added an alert to this correlated alert right here. Again, 6 network events, 4 intelligence events, all correlated together for you by our ACE engine in the background. So as we move over one tab, again, this looks very familiar to that cases screen. You can see it in timeline view, looking at, here's the event, some network events, some intel events, and you can actually click into these individually. You can also see it in a table format and turn these on or off the timeline as you see fit. We still have some white buttons on the top right here. This is where we'll get into some of that intelligence, the MITRE attack framing, and other stuff as you investigate this alert. If we gathered intelligence from our Advanced Research Center, it would be displayed here by IOC severity. When was this attack last seen? What is the threat group? What is the source? Any artifacts related to that threat group, and so on. In this case, we also have a MITRE Explorer here, and this is a good example as we actually have a command and control technique being used, in this case, ingress tool transfer. And so you can see that here in this column. So this allows the analyst to come in and explore techniques for all the different events and all the different alerts that are correlated together by our ACE engine. A few more tabs to go through on our alerts here. Were there any affected assets? And you can see that here based on asset name, asset type, and status. You can see a history of this correlated alert. So again, you saw a little snippet of that on the summary screen, but here you can see, hey, we've added an alert. ACE added an alert, right? I've assigned and update the status, and you keep that history as you do your investigation here within the alert. And then notes, same as the cases, right? You can add notes for your entire analyst team right from this screen. Lots of really advanced features that we've brought forward with this alert application that, again, will be brand new. If you're used to using the threat investigation and the flow graph, that will still be available within Helix Connect. We are just shifting how we look at correlated alerts and using our ACE engine, which is a much more advanced correlation engine, to do a lot of this work for you and show it to you in a much more logical way. So hopefully that demonstration within a live console in Helix Connect showed you some good new functionality that these applications can bring your team. So how do you get started? How do you begin using these new applications within your Helix Connect environment? First is check out the release notes. There you can find all the info that you may need to get up and running on these new applications. Number 2, the new applications will automatically appear in the UI. No need to enable these. These will automatically show up within your Helix Connect environment. And that brings us to number 3. Previous versions will remain, but will be listed as legacy. So as you navigate to the top left pancake menu, you'll see that applications have one of 3 tags. Legacy being the previous versions that will remain. new, which will be these new applications that you just saw, and then beta. If something is in beta, a beta application, it'll be tagged as beta in that menu as well. So number 4, you select the apps that are labeled new from the menu, again up on the top left. And then if you do need some help, use Thrive credits for any help that you may need from our support team or to train your staff and something like that. So real easy to get going to begin using these new applications within Helix Connect. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Nick for a quick Q&A. Thanks.
Thanks, Trent. As a reminder for everyone, Trellix Education Services offers exceptional training to go along with our award-winning products. If you would like to learn more, please visit the website listed on your screen to see all of our offerings. Are you wanting to learn more about upcoming Trellix product features and innovations? Join Trellix technical experts in a weekly 30-minute Tech Talk webinar series. Every week, you'll get a peek under the hood at Trellix technology and see a short demo spotlighting key capabilities from across the industry's most comprehensive portfolio of cybersecurity solutions. Now let's get our Q&A session started. I see we have several questions, but it's not too late to add your question. Please type it in the Q&A window to submit. Additionally, take a moment to fill out the survey. Your feedback and suggestions are always appreciated. Is there a possibility to integrate with some system to add assets or a massive import?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we integrate directly with your Active Directories. I saw Christian ask that question. If you have assets, maybe in Azure AD or somewhere else like that, we can integrate directly and bring those assets into Helix Connect. And so then you'll be able to see that correlation that you just kind of saw on the alert screen against affected assets. So if you have your assets in there, then we can say, hey, we're seeing these attacks against whatever assets you have internally within your environment. So yes, very easily done. And you can be up and running with your AD integrated within 5-10 minutes. Very easy.
Excellent. Thank you for that one. It looks like that's the only question that we have for today's session. I want to thank everyone for joining today's webinar, and a big thank you to our speaker, Trent. As a reminder, a link to today's recorded presentation will be emailed to all registered attendees. This concludes today's webinar. Stay safe, everyone.